Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and iOS 15 is filled with all sorts of small refinements and features. While it doesn't have a ton of visual changes, it does have a long list of features. And I covered those in the iOS 15 Beta 1 What's New video, and it was about 30 minutes or so of features. But there's a lot of other features that have been found since, and so I wanted to go over what's been found since, and there's quite a few. And the first one has to do with Siri. So the first thing we need to do is go into Settings, and if we go down to Settings and go to Face ID and Passcode, under Face ID and Passcode, if you have the option turned on where you can unlock your iPhone using your Apple Watch when your face is covered, there's a new feature that uses this same security method to help you out with personal requests. So for example, if I set my phone down, let me turn off the other ones and move them away and show you this new feature. So there's personal requests, and you're probably familiar with these, but before you would have to pick up your phone and unlock it to use those personal requests. So let me go ahead and lock it. Hey Siri, what is my last text message?
You have recent messages from zollotech.
And you'll see it says iPhone 12 Pro Max responding to Siri request. And it unlocked my phone using that to get my personal request. So you can ask more personal requests like you can on a HomePod, for example, without unlocking your phone to do it first. So it's a nice feature. You can feel it sort of give you haptic feedback on your wrist to let you know it's unlocked, and then it will answer your request. So it works really well, and it seems to be pretty consistent when you ask Siri for some sort of request like that. Now the next feature has to do with photos, and if I go into photos, visual lookup will now find different things within your photos and understand them. Now I did talk about this a little bit in the What's New video, but the way you can tell is this little eye with the star on it. So for example, if I tap on this, it means it has more information about it, and you can of course see more metadata, which I talked about before. If I tap on this button, you'll see it gives me results, Siri knowledge about what it is, maps to it, and similar web images just like it. So it understands what's in the photo a little bit better. Now, if you go to share this photo, and this is a photo I actually took a couple years ago, if I go to share this photo, tap on the share sheet here, and once you tap on the share sheet, you'll see there's a couple new options. You have copy iCloud link, edit date and time, and edit location. So these are new within the share sheet with iOS 15. So that's a little bit new. Now also you have the option to feature a photo less. So maybe you don't want to feature this as much, and you'll see this is an emoji of myself. And again, if I go to the share sheet, scroll down, you'll see I'm featuring it less. So I can stop featuring it less, but this also pertains to more than just people, for example. It pertains to places and also dates, so you can feature those less if you'd like. Now there has also been some updates to messages. So if we go into messages, you'll see my brother here sent me a bunch of photos from the same sort of place or related photos. And if we tap on them, we can of course expand them out and scroll through them, but also we can just scroll through them here. So we can scroll through them easily here, back and forth if we want to see the photo set. We can tap on this little button here that says 8 photos and get a grid of all the photos. We can select them, and now we have an easy download button to the right of it. So we can download or save to photo library. So it's an easy way to save any photo. If it's sent to you, you should have this icon now just to easily download that photo. So they've updated this and made it a little bit easier to swipe through all this sort of similar photos that people are sending to you. Now, if we go home and we go into the Contacts app, there's an update there as well. Now we're in the Contacts app and it looks pretty familiar at this point, but if we press and hold on Messages, it's a little bit different. We have the ability to message on anything that this person is within. So Instagram or Messenger or Signal or Skype. And the same is true with video as well. So under video, it used to say FaceTime, for example. Now it says video because there's multiple options. So it's been updated to allow for you to more easily message to whatever app you prefer, all from the same contact. So that's something they've updated as well. Now, maybe we have an older phone and we're getting ready to upgrade to, say, an iPhone 12, for example. As long as we have iOS 15 on our device, we can prepare the older device, so iPhone 6S Plus or newer or 6S, we can prepare that device to upgrade to the new phone. And there's a new setting to help you do that. So we go to Settings, we'll scroll down to General. Under General, go down to Reset. Under Reset, we now have Prepare for New iPhone. If we tap on this, you'll see it says, get ready to move your apps and data. enjoy extra iCloud storage to help you transfer to your new iPhone. And then you can check your trade-in status. If we tap on Get Started, you'll see it says uploading apps and data to iCloud. Use this iPhone to quickly sign in, trade in, or recycle this phone. So this will prepare your older phone, getting it ready to transfer to the new one. They'll allow you to use that data for up to about 3 weeks, according to Apple, and they'll give you the extra storage necessary if you don't have a more expensive subscription plan for iCloud storage when you're moving your phone. So you no longer have to worry about upgrading to a new data plan to move your device over. So that's something that's really nice that they've added with iOS 15. Now, if we go to the weather app here, there's a slight change as well. So you'll see on the right is iOS 15. On the left is iOS 14.6, 14.7. You can see the weather app is slightly different. They've moved the sun from the left here to the right over here. So it's just a slight change, but it's something they've updated as well. Now also within Stacks, if you use Stacks on your home screen, it can suggest a new app. For example, earlier today it suggested that I call my father. Since it knew that he called me, I missed the call. It popped up in here and showed me that. Let me show you what that looks like. And on my home screen, here's a screenshot I took. It says call dad back. And then you can tap this. It brings you right to calling him back. So it can suggest things based on time of day, and it can even update the stack with widgets that are available that would make sense for you. So it showed up, I tapped on it, called him back, and was good to go. This happens with apps I use in the morning. It knows I open YouTube, for example, in the morning. It knows I open that, and it will suggest that I open that in the morning, for example. So it's a little bit of an intelligent update to Stacks to let you know what's going on and kind of intuitively understanding what you do normally. Now with the home screen, there's some updates as well. And one of the things that's kind of funny is you can add multiple copies of the same app. Why you would want to do this, I'm not really sure, unless it has to do with maybe different focus modes where you could have a screen for home and a screen for work, for example. So you can add multiple copies of the exact same app, and it's just something you can do that's kind of odd in beta 1, but they may update this with beta 2. Now also, if we press and hold, we'll go into our home screens here. Not only can we now rearrange the home screens by pressing and holding, we can now delete a home screen. So maybe we want to get rid of this home screen. We can tap on the delete here and it says remove this page. So we can remove page, and we can keep those bookmarks. We'll just remove them here for now, but we can remove any one of these home screen pages or just rearrange them however we want. So it's much easier to manage those now. And as you can see here, we have all the different options you would expect that they didn't have with iOS 14. So that makes much better use of rearranging home screens and deleting them if you no longer want them. Now on the home screen, they've also updated an icon to better let you know when your phone is using data to locate where you're at. So for example, weather or maybe the App Store, for example, you'll see as soon as I went into the App Store, it's trying to locate me. It highlights the arrow in blue and then locates me. That makes a lot of sense. Maybe you're trying to check the weather. You go into weather. It locates you here with the blue circle around the arrow, and then it goes back to normal. So it's letting you know that I need to pull your location information, and then it does that, and then it goes away. So it's just a new indication or a new way to understand what's going on with your location data. Now, if we go into the control center, they've updated something small here. Now, we did expect a control center update. They did not do that with iOS 15, but they did update the Siri remote for Apple TV. So if I press and hold on it, you'll see on the right, it looks a little bit different at the bottom. So we have channel on the right. The arrow no longer says menu. It just has a little arrow to the left. And then we have sort of a share icon and then a play pause. So it looks a little bit different than it did before with a power button at the top and some menu options here as well. So it's looking for an Apple TV. Once it connects, it would have more information, but they have redesigned that. Now, another thing they've updated is when you're scanning a QR code. So let's go into our camera here. We'll go to photo and bring in maybe a Lego manual. So if we scan this QR code here, you'll see it says instructions if you have an app that's using it. So it shows it right here instead of a little pop down from the top. So if we go on iOS 14.7, it looks a little different. So if we try and scan the same QR code, it pops down from the top and says open in instructions. So they've updated that as well. It's a minor change, but something a little bit different. Now, maybe we're on a web page or an email and we want to print that email. They've updated this as well. So we'll tap the three dots for the menu, then we'll go down to print tap on print, and the print screen looks a little bit different. We've got our pages at the bottom. We also have a range of pages. We have paper size and then orientation. So you have letter, for example, or you can change it to A4, whatever you'd like, and you have a couple different options here. So they've redone the AirPrint screen on iOS 15. Now, if we go into the TV app, they've updated that as well. So we'll find TV here, go into TV, we're on a movie, and if we tap the three dots in the bottom right, we now have playback speed. We didn't have this before, but you can see languages, subtitles, and playback speed. Tap on this and we can play it all the way up to 2x speed, or half speed, for example. So that's available in the TV app on anything you're watching, so you can now play it back at different speeds. Now with iOS 15, they've updated something that I'm not sure if this is a bug or something that they're planning to change in the future. But if we go into Mail, for example, and maybe I delete this email. In the past, with iOS 14, you could use a 3-finger swipe to undo and redo. So you would swipe with your fingers to the left and it would undo. It doesn't do that anymore. So you don't have undo and redo with a 3-finger swipe built in. You can shake to undo, and that works, but it doesn't work to actually delete or undo and redo after you delete something. So they've changed that. Hopefully they bring it back and allow us to use the 3-finger swipe again, as I use that a lot. Now, for those of you that use app tracking transparency, maybe you have that turned off and it's not working properly for you, or it's just grayed out. So that's under privacy and tracking. App tracking transparency, if it's grayed out for you, it will now tell you why. So someone sent this in, so I appreciate it, and it shows you why it's actually grayed out and tells you the reason for it now. So that's something they've updated as well. Now within FaceTime, they've updated something as well. So let me go into FaceTime. So maybe I'm in a FaceTime call and maybe my microphone is muted. Currently it's on, but what if I mute my microphone and then I begin to speak? Well, normally you wouldn't know that it's muted, but now it will intelligently tell you that your microphone is muted and tap to unmute, and then it unmutes your microphone. Now they've also made an update to the Wallet app, which I think is pretty helpful. So let's go into Wallet. And in Wallet, at the bottom, it says View 5 Expired Passes. The Wallet app will now expire your passes based on if they're no longer valid, whether that be an airplane ticket, for example, and it's past the date, you've already used it. Before, it would just stay on the screen. Now it will actually expire those and let you know that. Now, something they've updated in Home is very helpful. So if we go into Home, and with iOS 15, you no longer have to create an automation to turn on a light at a specific time, for example. Now you can ask Siri to do that. So maybe I want to turn off my studio light at 3:15 p.m. Turn off the studio light at 3:15 p.m. We'll give it a moment.
One moment. I've set the studio light to turn off at 3:15 p.m. today.
So now it's set it to turn off at 3:15 p.m. and maybe it'll show up in automation later, but now it should do that on its own. Before, you would have to create an automation to do that. Now you can just ask Siri. So I think that's really much better for those sort of automations. Now, if we go into the Clock app, in the Clock, maybe we go to Alarm, we'll tap on Edit, tap on the alarm. We now have the dial back that we had before. No longer do we have the little box with dials that was a pain to use. If we go to Alarms, we'll edit the same one, for example. You'll see we don't have that little box anymore. They've brought back the scroll wheel to help us set the time. I think this is a much welcome change that many people will appreciate. So they've updated that as well. Now with the iPad, there's some updates as well. And the first one has to do with using iPhone apps in landscape mode. Maybe you have Instagram, for example, and you normally have to use it in portrait mode. Now you can use it in landscape mode. So we'll go into Instagram. So we're in Instagram, and this is my Instagram page if you want to follow me. And if we go to one of my posts about iOS 15 when the beta 1 came out, you can see that we can view it in landscape now. So we no longer have to have it in portrait mode. We can have it in portrait or landscape, and even have it smaller like an iPhone if we want to. So they've updated that for all of the iPhone apps that aren't updated for iPad now. So I think that's a nice addition that many people will be happy with. Now also, if we go to our settings, under Settings, we go to our home screen and dock. We can now show the app library in the dock. That's sort of set up by default, but if we don't want it there, we can remove it If we go back into settings, turn it back on, now we have the app library in the dock. So that's just a small update that they've changed there as well. Now, also according to developers with the different APIs or things that developers can do, you can now record gameplay for up to 15 seconds if you have a controller connected. So they can add that in their app so you can directly record gameplay when using iPadOS or iPhone OS or iOS 15. Now, within Notes, there's some updates as well on the iPad, and I think this will be really great for those of you that want to use handwritten notes. And you can now combine handwriting and images in handwritten notes. And so, for example, you'll see before you could have an image and then you could have your AirPods and then maybe you could draw on it, circle the AirPods, for example. But if we go back to done, that's kind of all we could do. But now if maybe we want to say this is AirPods, we'll do the same thing. It's really messy, but you get the idea. We'll tap and hold the image, bring it below. Now we've added it here and it's off to the side. So we'll tap, we'll move it around. We can resize it now. And now we can just draw. Maybe we want to draw an arrow pointing at something, notate this, do whatever we want, circle it here. We can now combine both. So we can move this around. We'll select all and you can move it together or however you'd like. So you get the idea. You can move your image. You'll see the circle that I put there before stays. The other one does not. So you have the option to fully edit this with handwritten notes now. So I think that's a nice update as well. And so there's quite a few changes still in iOS 15, and I'm sure there's more to discover later on. And of course, if I find a bunch more, I'll keep you updated in another video. If you've found anything else significant, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. And if you'd like to get your hands on this wallpaper, I'll link it in the description like I normally do. If you haven't subscribed already though, please subscribe. And if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.